Well, good morning, everyone. It's great to see you all, and I should start by saying Happy Mother's Day. I got to FaceTime my granny yesterday, so that was really good, and then FaceTiming my mom later. My sister's got the gift covered, so we're good on that. Otherwise, I would have forgotten. But it's really good to have y'all here, and I know that often brings visitors, so we're really glad that you're here with us this morning, and whatever's brought you here, we're glad that you're here this morning. If you'd like, you can turn over to the Gospel of John chapter 1. We'll read from there in a moment, in John chapter 1. But as you make your way there, it was a while back, I was at the airport, and my family had just dropped me off at the airport in Houston. We had I had a great visit home, a good time with all of them. And as I made my way to security, I reached in my back pocket for my wallet to find that it was empty. And so I, reached in the other pocket, found that one empty, threw off my backpack, started searching through that, and still couldn't find my wallet. And at that point, I was, my heart rate was a little bit faster. I could kind of feel the nervousness, but I still had about 30 minutes till boarding, which I know some of you like type A's are thinking, oh my word, that's crazy. Had about 30 minutes till boarding, and I thought, okay, well, it's all right. So I calmly and very peacefully threw my backpack and suitcase on the ground and began just like furiously tearing through every square inch of that suitcase. Clothes flying through the air, toiletries spilling out onto the tile, desperately searching for that lost wallet. Well, after I don't know how many minutes it was, I finally realized, okay, this is a lost cause. I'm not going to find it. So I called my family. And within my family of four, I've not been known as the most put together of the four of them. So they were obviously really excited when they found out that they would have to go back to the house, search for the wallet, come back to the airport, and hand it to me with enough time to get to my plane before takeoff. Well, they get to the house, they're searching through, room by room, search and rescue mission, trying to find this lost wallet, and it's just looking hopeless. Until finally my dad, he gets the idea, he remembers, okay, well, we haven't driven one of these vehicles in a while, but maybe earlier in the week it had fallen in there somehow. So he goes out to this other vehicle, begins searching through one of the passenger seats, reaching and feeling his way through all of the random assortment of objects that fall beneath car seats. And finally, he reaches back there, and he still no, that was it. He found it that time. It was there. He found it, and they rushed back, gave it to me, and I made it through security, got on the plane with just enough time before we left. And while that was anxiety-inducing experience for all four of us, there's something satisfying, there's something comforting and peaceful about finally finding what you're looking for. Have you ever had an experience like that in your own life? You can't find your car keys and you're in a rush to get to work. You can't find that outfit that you wanted to wear on Sunday morning and you're getting stressed about that. You can't find that email that is lost in the thousands of unopened ones that are all scattered about. Or sometimes it's the deeper things, right? You can't find belonging. You can't find happiness. You can't find love. You can't find your way out of this depression and anxiety. You can't find yourself. You can't find hope. And sometimes, as anxiety-inducing as it can be to search through my suitcase at an airport for my wallet, far more so, do we feel the pressure and weight and worry of not being able to find those things. And I think so many people struggle through life wondering if they'll ever find what they're looking for. And it's that thought that drew me to the Gospel of John this week. Throughout the Gospels, throughout all four Gospels, it's interesting to look at the very first words of Jesus, because it seems like whatever Jesus' first statement is, whatever Jesus' first words are, there's something remarkable in that kind of sets the stage for the rest of how that gospel writer is going to portray who Jesus is. And we don't have time to look at all four of them, but in John's gospel, Jesus' first words are actually a question. And he says in John 1 and verse 38, "What are you seeking? What are you seeking?" And in some ways that might not seem like such a big deal, especially maybe compared to something like Matthew, where Jesus talks about repent for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. But this statement, within this statement, this word seek, we find it 34 times throughout the rest of John's gospel. And this question, what are you seeking, kind of runs as a theme throughout the rest of the book. Over and over again, we are introduced to men and women of all these different backgrounds, of all these different situations in life, who are seekers. They're searching for something, and they might not even be able to identify in clear, succinct words what it is, but they're all searching for something. They're all seeking something. And what I want to do in the time that we have this morning is just briefly go through a few of these characters that we're introduced to and notice what it is that they're seeking, what it is that they're looking for, and see if that's at all relatable to us. And so there in chapter 1, in this very first statement, we find these two disciples, and what they're looking for is a rabbi. They're looking for a rabbi. Jesus says, "What are you seeking?" And they say, "Rabbi, where are you staying?" And maybe that doesn't seem immediately relatable to us, but maybe we could think about it like this. Have you ever searched for someone who you could follow in life? We're around the time of year when college students are coming home, and we have seniors who are about to graduate. And when you kind of get into that phase of life, people start talking about adulting, right? You learn how to adult. And what we want in that stage of life is someone who shows us what adulting really is, what it looks like, how to do this thing. And beyond that, we also want someone in all of life just to show us how to be human, how to live a good and meaningful life. And that's what these two disciples are seeking: a rabbi, a teacher, someone to follow in the footsteps of, who show them what life's really all about. And so they're looking for this rabbi. Or we move on to chapter 3 and we meet another character, a Pharisee, Nicodemus. And Nicodemus, he seems like somebody who's searching for a whole lot of things. But the one that seems most relatable to me is he's searching for answers to the inexplicable things that he's witnessing, to things that he just can't rationalize, to things that don't make sense to him. And it's in fact, he says to Jesus, "I know that no one can do these things, all these works, all these miracles that Jesus is doing." He says, "I know that no one can do these things apart from God." And so you can hear his rationalization in this moment. He's saying, "I'm seeing this, I'm experiencing this. This is the reality that I'm confronted with, but it doesn't fit within my paradigm. It doesn't fit within my worldview. And what I need, what I'm searching for, what I'm seeking is someone to make sense of reality. For someone to make sense of what I'm experiencing all around me. I'm searching for someone to make sense of all this." Or then in chapter 4, we meet a Samaritan woman, the woman at the well. And if there's one thing that she is searching for, it's a way out. A way out of the brokenness, a way out of regret, a way out of the guilt and shame, a way to escape her past, a way out of being that woman who did those things, a way into a new life, to rewrite her story. In chapter 5, we find a man who is paralyzed. And it's obvious what this man is looking for, of course. He's looking for healing. He's looking to be brought back to wholeness, to walk again. And while we may not be able to fully relate to that, depending on your situation, the more general idea is he's seeking for someone to restore what's broken. He's looking for someone who can restore what for years had been lost. And I think that's relatable to us. Maybe it's not a physical condition, but maybe that's a marriage. Maybe that's a friendship. Maybe that's a financial situation. Whatever it is, this man is searching for his life to be restored. Or moving on to chapter 7, we find people who are confused about Jesus. And they're kind of debating back and forth about who this person is. And some believe that he may be one of the prophets. Others believe he might be the Messiah. And those two words maybe don't immediately register within kind of a modern context, but think of it this way. A prophet is someone who can interpret reality. A prophet is someone who can speak truth in the midst of all the lies that are circling around us. A prophet is someone who can even look into the future and give some kind of meaningful revelation and explanation about just how things might play out. And I think so many people are looking for that right now, today. In our world, in our culture, people are looking for that to be explained. Or what about a Messiah? A kind of political leader to come and fix what's broken and to make everything right. Isn't that what people are looking for today? Someone to come and just make everything right that's messed up right now. And then in chapter 9, the man born blind. For 38 years, he had no idea what his mother or father looked like, never had any hope of marrying and raising a family, never had a chance to live a normal life, to have a career, all of these things. And what he's seeking is for his eyes to be opened. He's seeking to finally see life in all of its fullness. And while it may not be that physical condition, think about how many people or how many times you have felt as if you're just kind of blindly making your way through life without ever being able to truly see what life is all about. And so he's searching for some kind of enlightenment to illuminate his life. And then finally in chapter 11, we find Mary and Martha, who are grieving the loss of their brother Lazarus. And you know what they're looking for? They're looking for hope beyond the grave, for hope in the midst of loss. And there are many more examples like this. There are many more moments like this in John's gospel, but what about you? What are you seeking? What are you looking for? Sometimes we don't know. Sometimes we're just going one day at a time and we don't ever stop to think about it, or we're so busy that we never stop to realize what we're so busy for, what we're working toward, what life is all about to us, what is the thing that we're seeking in life. Or maybe at one point you thought you knew. You thought you knew what you were looking for, but either you could never quite reach it, or when you finally did, you realize it wasn't what you were looking for after all, or that it slipped from your grasp. But perhaps one of the most important questions we could answer is this: what are you seeking? What am I looking for? And the follow-up question to that is, have you found it? Have you found what you're looking for? And what amazes me in John's gospel is that with all these different people, from all these different backgrounds and situations in life, and all of these different things that they're seeking, they all find what they're looking for in Jesus. All these different characters, all these different situations, they all find what they're looking for in him. No more desperately searching through life, never wondering if they'll ever reach it, if they'll ever find that thing. They all find what they're looking for in him. And in fact, I think that's the point of all of those familiar I am statements. Jesus says, whatever you're seeking, I am. Do you feel unsatisfied and empty? Jesus says, I am the bread of life. Do you feel like the world is dark and you can't see and things feel hopeless? Jesus says, I am the light of the world. Do you feel like every door of opportunity is closed, or when you do open it, it's not what you were looking for, it wasn't what you wanted? Jesus says, I am the door, enter by me. Or do you feel helpless and vulnerable and directionless in life? Jesus says, I am the good shepherd. I will protect you, I will lead you, I will guide you, I will lay down my life for you. Or do you worry about loss? Do you worry about death, about what's on the other side of this life? Jesus says, I am the resurrection and the life. And so as we come to the table this morning, I want to close with Jesus' second statement in John 1 in verse 39. We looked at verse 38 a moment ago. But in verse 39, after the disciples say, Rabbi, where are you staying? Jesus' second statement is, come and you will see. Come and you will see. Whatever it is that you're looking for, whatever it is that you are seeking, come this morning, come around the table, come to Jesus, and you will see, you will find, you'll discover that which you are looking for, perhaps what you've been looking for all your life in him. We'll now ask the men to come forward as we partake.